All right, here we go. Back at it. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Tech Tuesday. My name is Ben.
And I'm Bradley.
Yes, joined by Bradley. It's been a while. It's been a while.
Yeah, you know, I've been busy.
Yeah.
Tim's filling in for me a little bit here and there.
Yes.
He's been doing a good job.
No,
though, so
yeah.
we'll give
Good
him
job.
that.
Good job, Tim. No, but for real, Bradley, if you did not know, he is our one of our technicians at Aces EFI, specifically R&D. So
Yeah.
you do all of the preparing and testing new products and updating products that we already have, and then you also do a lot with RMAs. So chances are,
Yeah.
if you had an RMA, this guy was working on your system.
Yeah,
So
I get to play with the new parts and configurations, things like that. It's good fun. So.
yeah, exactly. So all that to say, he has the knowledge base to be here.
We'll just say
seriously, for sure. But yes, why you clicked on the video is to get into the questions. And so if we can get through all of these today, we may be able to hit some of the LS installation questions, but to be determined. But what I usually ask Tim before we get started, Bradley, is if he has any
fashion statement,
questions, quibbles, and fashion statement tips.
I watch the videos too.
Yeah. What advice do you have coming from the tech department? Other words, Mr. Bradley, do we have before we get started?
Well, if you got an oil leak, if you got a coolant leak, if you got a flat tire, LS swap it.
Yep.
That's all I got to say.
It's like Windex for
it's
you know.
just the fix to everything.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
LS swap it. It's
Exactly.
fine. But we're here to help with that.
Yes.
So it's all good.
Yes. The first question today is from Flat Black Rat Rod. A bajur. Jabber. I
We call
butchered that.
Hot Rod Black.
Awesome. I am sure you will cover this in your Killshot installation video, but the 255 inline kit that came with my Killshot has two different diameter fuel lines. Just curious where each of those are used. I'm probably overlooking it somewhere in the manual. Also went on spooling. I think I kinked it slightly and heard a small pop. I assume that section is probably bad? Question mark? I don't know if it's bad or not. I don't know what the popping would indicate if you broke it or not. But yes, we do have two different diameter fuel lines in the kit. But I'll let you.
Yeah, so if it's PTFE line
Mhm.
and you heard a popping noise, it might be the lining on the inside. And I would say if you are running E85, that I would replace that.
Okay.
I don't think you're going to hear a popping noise from rubber fuel line.
Yeah.
And there is two different diameters in the kit. So you're referring to the -6 and the small section of -8 line.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at the pump and the fittings that are included in that kit, you can tell that the back side will be the -8, the front side will be -6 going to the throttle body regulator. So that's where that's at, and it is in the manual, and we will cover that in the installation video as well. I'm sure you guys have done that.
Yep.
So that will be coming soon.
Yep. There is also a fuel systems video out that will probably go in both playlists, but specifically we are using the inline fuel system on the TBI install. So I believe that is something that we are going to cover. I will go ahead and say one of the reasons why Tim is not in this video is because he's on sabbatical. No, he's not on sabbatical. I hope he's laughing watching this. No, he is out working on R&D projects at the manufacturer, so he will be back in a month.
Yeah, he's going to be gone for a month doing a bunch of cool stuff.
Yeah.
He kind of hinted towards some of the things he's working on in the last video.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to touch on that any.
I don't even know all the things, but
I might know a few things, but we're going to keep
that
to ourselves.
Yeah.
Next question, Car Camp. Appreciate the response, but realistically speaking, a guy doesn't necessarily have to wait for the latest update to explain/expand on some more of the common tuning features.
I'm assuming this is related to something we talked about in the last Tech Tuesday video. But I mean...
Yeah, so I think he's referring to when Tim was talking about the upcoming tuning videos and waiting to have the later update to make sure he has all the features in there. To do one and done kind of deal.
They all run together. I know we talked about the lambda and MAF selection in the when you're map not MAF. Sorry.
Yeah. So
tuning sections in the handheld with the new software, maybe that's
which is
what
awesome. I prefer Lambda. It's just easier to mentally calculate in your head and everything. So not sure exactly what it is specifically that you're wanting to know about it, but
for sure
there are people on the YouTube space now doing more installs. I remember, 6 months ago, you go on YouTube, you look up Aces EFI, and you would just see a Tech Tuesday pop up. You go on YouTube now, you search up Aces EFI. There's a long list of install videos, some great videos out there. Yep. I'm not entirely sure if they get too deep into the tuning stuff, but it's on different configurations, different vehicles. So there's jokers out there, there's kill shot, jackpot stuff with a 4L60, with a manual transmission, bunch of different configurations. So. And they are credible videos. I will say I've watched them just to check if there's any misinformation in there, because that's a thing.
I do the same thing.
So there's some good information out there, but we are Tim and Ben and possibly me, depending on if he's back or not. We're getting into that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So and it's similar. It's volumetric efficiency. So if you look at a VE table, if you know what that is, it functions the same as other systems, I guess I should say.
So I completely agree.
The principle is the same. I think a lot of people where they get kind of hung up is navigating through the software. Yeah. And we've actually made that in the previous updates. We've made that a little bit easier for you with floating windows and icons and pop-up things on the side to tell you what certain things do. So we're taking all this into consideration when we are making these updates that they're talking about. So having one solid video, or it's probably going to end up being a series, because there's a lot of stuff in there. Yeah. But we are actually taking these comments and these questions and suggestions into consideration when we are doing an update. So just keep that in mind, that although you're having to wait a little bit longer for that video that you're waiting to see, I know a lot of people are waiting for that video. It is actually, we're still making improvements up to that point. So
I'll say two things. The first thing is that not even the LS installation video playlist thing is complete yet. There will all have a tuning video related in those playlists. So the one that we're currently working on for the it is a kill shot, but the TBI install, and then also for the LS, will actually have a dyno session, and Tim will actually be working on the advanced tuning software. But in the meantime, and I know he's not here right now, if there's something specific, I know we just did a tech short thing yesterday on the cam sensor. If there's something really specific that you want us to get into, leave it in a comment. Leave it in a comment of one of the shorts, and we can try to do that really quick as well, just to show you how to navigate those things as well. We try to fit those in. So I just wanted to throw that in there before we go on. But like you said, you did a great job of answering. That is coming. A lot more of those things are going to be here in 2025. Danny Richard is our third question, Q4M. He says, thank you again for all your help. I have a few new questions on my dad's 72 Ford F250 with an FE390 and a Deuces Wild Master Kit and a command center fuel system. We live at about 7,500 feet of elevation. What would you recommend we run the timing at after locking out the 15-degree BTDC? We are planning on using computer-controlled timing norm with a carb is about 8 BTDC. Second, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this, but just to clarify, the command center is pre-adjusted to 58 PSI. Do I need to go into the handheld and set the PSI to that before starting? And last, we're going from points on your ignition system on the master kit. Any recommendation on spark plugs? As always, thank you for a great system and great support.
Cool.
It's a longer question. Tim wouldn't like the long words, but I don't mind reading it. Yeah, absolutely. Great question. You'll do the timing related with top dead center, but with regards to 58 PSI, yes, it is regulated to 58 psi, so you will need to go in there into the handheld to adjust for that. Spark plugs. No, I don't have any.
Just regular copper core.
Yeah.
Those are the best ones.
And then I just want to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Yeah.
So as far as the timing goes, there's a lot of variables that go into that. So it's not really as simple as, oh, you should run 12 or you should run 13. You know, elevation is one variable, but you also have your fuel type, your compression ratio, a bunch of different factors on detonation. Yeah. So we don't normally recommend a certain timing for somebody just for liability reasons, but also there's a lot of different factors. So if he's running more compression, less compression, if he's running 87, 93, E85, all those things go into, and I'm sure they know this, but all of those things are factors in choosing your timing values. So total timing, idle, part throttle, wide open throttle, all of those things are different. Building a timing table. So there's more information needed to give that answer, I would say.
But also
15 degrees is a good medium. That's kind of why we have it set there. It's different for every vehicle, but 15, you know, when they were doing the testing on these systems, they found that was a happy medium for everybody. So that's a good starting point. Definitely don't want to go anything too crazy where you start getting some knock. Especially on a classic engine where you don't have a knock sensor. So I would go a little bit more conservative on that, depending on the application. Being on an F250, I don't know if you're pulling stuff with it or not, so it's going to be under a lot of load a lot of the times. So there's a lot of variables in there. That'd be a whole nother separate video on just ignition timing.
So as far as like just an initial setup, like Bradley's saying, at 15 degrees, starting point is fine. It does have a barometer in the ECU, so that it should be able to start up just fine. As far as if you are going to go tow with it and things like that, I would just give one of our authorized tuners a call and see about getting it dialed in there. That'd be my advice. I hope Tim is smiling down on us from the camera.
Michael Strider? We'll call it
Strider.
8774. Do y'all have any higher horsepower builds? I bought the jackpot. I'm looking to get 800 to 1,000 on E85. Yes, we do. I actually just saw a video of someone having a jackpot system on a burnout truck. Twin turbos, you know, all the alternators.
I saw that too.
So, yes, we do have people that are running higher horsepower builds. It is also on E85. That's totally capable with our systems. Our systems are totally capable of that. It just depends on the injectors. So we do offer a 800 horsepower kit. If you want to make more than that, we have bigger injectors. And we have PTFE line. So you're good there. The only limiting factor that we have now is really just RPM. Because if you look at the tables, it only goes up to 8,000 RPM. So you can scale it for boost. You can get to that 300 KPA, but the 8,000 RPM right now, as of now, is the cutoff on that. But as far as injectors and fuel systems and getting all the horsepowers you want, you're good. So, yes, there are some people on Facebook, too, that I see a lot of people running like the classic eBay turbo and all that good stuff. So I support it. I love that stuff. So
no, absolutely.
Yeah, that's definitely a doable thing with the jackpot. It says you already bought one, so I don't know which one you got. If you're really trying to get to that 1,000 horsepower mark, if you bought the 800 kit, I don't know if those injectors will support that.
No. When we sell you a 500 or 800 horsepower jackpot kit, or honestly any other kit, that is what it's rated for based on the injectors. So if you're going to do anything else, you will have to change the injectors. All right, question 5. Maybe 5. Lug nutter. Putting the...
He's going to watch this. That guy is going to watch this, and he's going to see this, and he is going to be laughing. I appreciate your sense of humor, sir. That was amazing. I'm glad you got stuck with it too.
I'm trying so hard.
We gotta leave this in. That was great.
Lug nutter. Great name. Putting the Deuces Wild on a turbo 1.8 4-cylinder. Would love to see boost control as well as a knock sensor.
Sweet.
Yep. Cool. Can-IO module stuff?
Yep. That's coming.
Yep.
And the reason that he's wanting this is what we were kind of just talking about with
because of his awesome
timing
name
stuff. Yeah. So really excited to see the Deuces Wild just on a variety of engine combinations and different things. I'm looking forward to that next year. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
So we're going to have so many different builds that are just super clean, super nice, or like cool rat rod or something.
You might be doing that stuff on your channel. Who knows?
Yeah, I could.
Well, I read the last one. I got the privilege of reading the last one. You get this one.
All right. So let's see here. J Beeman 3628. I was wondering if I could start with a basic kit and add on later or on down the road, or I have to start where I am or where I want to be later on. So I think what he's trying to say is it okay to go ahead and get a kit, and then if he wants to add to it later, can he do that? So I don't know what kit you're talking about buying here, but if you want to, for instance, buy a jackpot kit, and you don't have a 4L60 or 4L80 now, but you might want to do it later, go ahead and get the Pro. Just go ahead and get the one that is capable of doing that, because the harness has the plug for it, and you already have the sub harness. And if you want to drive it with, your Turbo 350 in there for a little bit, you can. Yeah. Just make sure to set it up in the Wizard, and you're good. That way you got what you need for later. Yeah. That's the way I would do that.
Yep. But it also depends. Like if you're going, TBI setup, you want to go with the kill shot. You're going to add, timing control with our blackjack distributor later on, then you can add that later. You can add a quick draw to it later for transmission control if you want to do that. So the answer is depending on the system. Yeah. So absolutely, that would be
if you're running a kill shot and you just got your HEI in there, you can definitely run it that way. Just get your tack signal, and then later on, if you want to do timing control, you definitely do that. There are VR plugs there. You're good to go. Yeah.
I think that's probably
a lot of that probably has to do with budget stuff, and we try to keep this stuff budget friendly. I mean,
absolutely, it's the most budget friendly EFI on the market.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's not even close. JC Plot Plan 1151. Hey guys, I've been trying to find how to tune the transmission to shift correctly. I have a LS with a 4L60 using the jackpot and trans controller. It doesn't shift, and it feels in 1 to 2nd gear all the time. Any advice what episode to watch, or maybe to fine-tune the engine doesn't go above 3K or 4K RPMs? The engine/transmission has been rebuilt with less than 50 miles on the new swap. Thanks in advance.
So if it feels like it's just in 1st to 2nd, or if it's not shifting, because it says both. Make sure you're getting a VSS signal. If you are, I would make sure you've got your gear ratio, your tire diameter, and all that stuff, kind of situated. What we got? Is there an episode that he can go watch for that?
I don't think that. I mean, if you want to go through some of our Tech Tuesday episodes, I do go through and key point each section. That might be, every question gets its own little tag, so you can go to the description of each one and see if there's one that's specifically talking about changing for shift points. I know Tim has discussed it in many episodes, but I would look for something like that, but not one specifically.
So if you're not getting a shift, I would check the VSS signal. If you are getting a VSS signal, then I would go through those other things. Also, make sure you're on the correct firmware. If you're not on the Jackpot Pro firmware, then you can't go through that stuff. Also, make sure that when you're in the Wizard that you're selecting the correct one that has the correct 2nd gear ratio. Little things like that make a big difference. If you accidentally click the wrong one, it happens. I've done it before. So, or if you forget to plug something in.
Yep, that'll do it too.
Or plugging something in the wrong direction. So that transmission plug, I know y'all have touched on that in that transmission video. The plug goes in one direction.
Yep.
I mean, you could force it in another direction, but
yeah,
it's supposed to go in a certain direction. Don't know if that's what's going on or not, but those are the things I would check through first. And if you got any more questions, just give us a call. I mean, we can go through that stuff with you. We'll get you straightened out. No problem.
Yep. I want to read this question so bad, but I'm going to let you have it.
You just want to say the last
I
word.
I do.
All right. Here we go. Last question. Antman993. Can we get map and KPA and everything else in
M'erica. Sorry, I couldn't do it.
So, if you're referring to the handheld.
He's referring to M'erica, dang it. Come on.
Yeah, American Freedom Units.
Yes.
If you're referring to the handheld, I'm not sure if you can do one or the other, but I know we can make that a thing.
We could probably look into it, but I think right now you probably have to choose one or the other.
Yeah, because when you go into the setup, it asks you if you want imperial or metric.
Is there a way you could change it in the advanced tuning software to have one table display as KPA on a pop-up and then something else? Probably not.
It does it the same.
Okay.
Actually, it only displays in KPA because of the way that the table is.
Okay.
It's reading in KPA. So if you change in the settings, if you go and you change it to American Freedom Units, it shows like your temperatures and all of that stuff in Fahrenheit where you can actually understand it.
Yeah.
I can understand that. But the map stays the same because that's the way that the table is. It's in KPA, and I like reading KPA better anyways. So we'll definitely look into that. I'll let Tim know. So he can go and let them know, hey, we want this.
He's probably going to say not right now, but later.
Yeah,
something along those lines.
I like already having the Lambda on the handheld, so having Lambda and KPA for somebody that does some tuning, it would be great.
Yeah. We're going to do 2 questions. I know we already said we were going to do our last question, but 2 more questions from the LS installation guide. We'll try to come back to these as much as possible, and then maybe in the future we'll go back to Facebook, but we'll see. Yeah. All right, Johnny, YC71, can you do a IAC kick from when the AC compressor kicks on? Johnny, there is a loose or additional wiring harness called AC, and if you are using that, that should do exactly what you're looking for as far as is it retarding timing for AC, or is it just
No, it goes into the logic. It sends the signal like, hey, this is on, this is excited, so it kind of idles up a little bit and just compensates for the extra load on the vehicle to hit that target idle and things like that. So
check out that wire, the AC wire.
We don't have a project vehicle here with AC, so you're doing better than us. We would make a video on that, but we got that manual AC and other stuff. So
yeah.
It is what it is.
No, for sure.
Especially on the C10, you got the little corner windows there. Those things are amazing.
Fox Kike
36. New to the engine swap / building. So my question is, how can you set up all the wiring with a switchboard for ignition and management? So if you're referring to just, having like a real race car switch panel there and showing everybody what's up in the Kmart parking lot, I just put relays on things. Just good practices, making sure you got clean voltage.
Yep.
That's how we have our run stand set up. We just have a little switch there to turn it on, but we've got it going to relays. I've seen people have these in fully gutted race cars.
Yep.
Just a good old grocery getter. But yeah, just make sure to run a relay to things.
Yep.
I've seen people do that and they don't have any issues.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really all there is to it. Just make sure that you're doing good practices.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Bradley, thank you for coming all the way out to the studio to record this episode of Tech Tuesday. You'll probably be rocking the Tech Tuesdays with me for
all good
as long as you're able
all
to.
Good.
So
I'm here.
All right. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Tech Tuesday, everyone. If you liked it, please feel free to leave a like down below. If you have any questions about Aces fuel injection or EFI in general, also feel free to leave a comment down below, and we'll be happy to get to it in our next Tech Tuesday video. And if you have anybody else that's looking to get into the engine builder world, as our last comment was talking about, or just is looking to get into EFI, point them our way. We'd be happy to help them out as well. But like always, until next time, we'll see you all in the next video. Bye for now.